under the USDA, administers several nutrition programs that provide healthy, balanced meals to children in schools. Because these programs receive federal assistance, all sponsors must comply with the Federal Civil Rights Program.
Civil rights requirements are intended to ensure that benefits of these child nutrition programs are made available to all eligible participants in a non-discriminatory manner.
School nutrition programs are funded with taxpayer dollars. Therefore, it is important for us to make sure that all of our customers are treated fairly and equally throughout their entire experience with us. From a parent filling out paperwork for meal benefits to a student getting rung up for their meal at the line. Treating customers fairly and equally is essential to the success of our program.
What are civil rights? Civil rights refers to the non-political rights of all U.S. citizens. They are the rights of personal liberty guaranteed to all U.S. citizens by the 13th and 14th Amendments and by acts of Congress.
Although it is the policy of USDA and FNS to provide fair and equitable treatment to all employees and program participants, specific civil rights laws prohibit discrimination in child nutrition programs based on race, color, national origin, sex, age, and disability. These are called protected classes.
A protected class is any person or group of people who have characteristics for which discrimination is prohibited based on a law, regulation, or executive order. Several civil rights laws make up the civil rights regulations that are followed in school nutrition programs. These include Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972, Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, the Age Discrimination Act of 1974, and the Civil Rights Restoration Act of 1987.
So what is discrimination? Discrimination is defined as different treatment to people, which makes a distinction of one person or a group of persons from others, either intentionally, by neglect, or by the actions or lack of actions based on the protected classes. Discrimination in school nutrition can be summed up in the 4 Ds: delayed receiving benefits or services that others receive, denied benefits or services that others receive, treated differently than others to their disadvantage, and given disparate treatment, something which does not seem discriminatory, but has a discriminatory impact. If a program recipient in a protected class feels that they were discriminated against in the school lunch program, they may submit a civil rights complaint of unequal treatment.
If someone feels that they or someone they know has received unequal treatment in the operation of a school nutrition program, they may file a civil rights complaint. Even if the complainant does not call their concern a civil rights complaint, it qualifies as one if it deals with unequal treatment. Civil rights complaints may be verbal, written, or observed. Potential civil rights complaints may start as a phone call, letter, email, fax, or other form of communication. Civil rights complainants may choose to directly contact USDA, the Georgia Department of Education School Nutrition Program, or the local sponsor of their complaint. If a complaint is received at the local level, it must be forwarded to the Georgia Department of Education School Nutrition Program office within 3 working days. Civil rights complaints may be filed within 180 days of the alleged discriminatory action.
Local sponsors are required to develop and implement a written civil rights procedure to handle any discrimination complaint that may be received. It's very important that all school nutrition personnel know what to do when a complaint is made. This is addressed during the administrative review.
The Civil Rights Complaint Form may be found in FNS Instruction 113-1 Appendix E. Local forms may be developed but must include the same information. In summary, the civil rights complaint procedure is as follows. First, a civil rights complaint is received by the sponsor, either verbally or in writing. Second, the sponsor logs the complaint in the civil rights complaint log. Additionally, the sponsor gives the complainant the civil rights complaint form or assists the complainant to complete the form if necessary. If the complainant returns the civil rights complaint form to the sponsor must forward the complaint to Georgia Department of Education School Nutrition Program within 3 working days.
When a civil rights complaint is received, it is important to try and discuss the issue with the person who has filed the complaint. This way, you may be able to resolve the problem quickly at the lowest level possible.
Aside from following the policies of handling civil rights complaints, school nutrition programs must also comply with specific civil rights directives. These include assurances and public notification, data collection and reporting, and outreach and education.
All programs receiving federal funds must submit a written assurance, which is an agreement that the sponsor will operate in compliance with all non-discrimination laws, policies, and guidance. Where applicable, a statement of assurance must be incorporated into agency agreements. Examples of this would be vendor agreements, federal, state, and local agency agreements, and subrecipient agency agreements. These agreements allow USDA to review records for compliance. State agencies may review assurance agreements during the administrative review. The purpose of public notification is to inform applicants, participants, and potentially eligible persons of the program availability, program rights and responsibilities, the policy of non-discrimination, and the procedure for filing a complaint. School nutrition programs should focus on 3 areas of compliance with public notification. Annually, programs must notify the public of participation in the school nutrition programs. The state agency sends out a statewide public release annually for existing schools participating in child nutrition programs. Schools must display the Injustice for All poster in a prominent location where it is visible to all participants of child nutrition programs. The poster provides the USDA address and phone numbers that the public can use to file a complaint if they think their civil rights have been violated. Posters are available from the Georgia Department of Education School Nutrition Program upon request. All information materials, including websites used by schools to inform the public about FNS programs, like the School Nutrition Program, must contain the Non-Discrimination Statement. This is the Authorized USDA Non-Discrimination Statement. Schools who participate in the school nutrition program and specifically mention in their promotional and informational materials or on their website that they participate in the school nutrition program must include this non-discrimination statement. The short non-discrimination statement is available to use for smaller documents of 1 page or less, and available options are listed here. When using the non-discrimination statement, be sure not to change the wording. When the short non-discrimination statement is used, the font used must be printed in the same font size as the smallest font used in the document. All informational materials, including websites used by schools to inform the public about the school nutrition program, must contain the non-discrimination statement. Examples of when to use the non-discrimination statement include enrollment forms, menus, employee handbooks, newsletters, websites, brochures, parent handbooks, advertisements, flyers, and informational signs. When the size or configuration of an item would make it impractical for a statement to be used, it is not required. Examples of this would include caps, buttons, magnets, and pens.
Data collection and reporting is a civil rights directive that helps determine how effectively a program reaches potentially eligible children and where outreach may be needed. To comply, sponsors must establish a system to collect racial and ethnic data on a yearly basis, and the data must be kept for 5 years in a secure and confidential manner.
Typically, the race and ethnic category information is requested on free and reduced applications. Alternatively, staff may make an observation of ethnicity and race. Self-reported information is the preferred method. The ethnicity categories include Hispanic or Latino and non-Hispanic or Latino. Hispanic or Latino would include persons of Cuban, Mexican, Puerto Rican, South or Central American, or other Spanish culture or origin, regardless of race. The race categories include American Indian or Alaskan Native, Asian, Black or African American, Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, and white. Sponsors are also required to make reasonable accommodations to program participants with disabilities and limited English proficiency. When disabilities affect a student's diet or menu accommodations are necessary due to a disability, sponsors must make reasonable accommodations. Food substitutions or modifications are required in the following circumstances. When a physician's statement is on file that describes the disability which prevents the student from eating regularly offered foods, and when the physician has indicated the substitutions or modifications that the student needs. The physician's statement must remain on file. Accommodations must also be made when there is limited English proficiency, which means English is not the participant's first language and there is limited ability to read, speak, write, or understand English. Reasonable accommodations include making program information available to the public regarding program eligibility, benefits, services, and making a civil rights complaint in English and/or in the appropriate translation. If alternative communication means are needed, such as Braille, large print, or audio, then those are required. All organizations receiving federal financial assistance have a responsibility to take reasonable steps to ensure meaningful access to their programs by persons with limited English proficiency.
Civil rights training is required annually for all staff working in school nutrition programs. Training must be provided and documented for all frontline staff. Teaching tools, including this presentation and other handouts, can be found on the Georgia School Nutrition Program website. So now that you've learned about the civil rights requirements in school nutrition programs, let's watch some scenarios to see how the civil rights rules might apply.
Boys, we have leftovers. Come and get it. No, not the girls, only the boys.
This practice would be discriminatory. Even though the cafeteria staff did not intentionally discriminate, offering leftovers to only the boys means they were discriminating based on sex. If leftovers are going to be offered, they need to be offered to everyone.
Necesito una aplicación de comida.
I'm sorry, sir. We only have it in English.
This practice is wrong. Either program information, including the free and reduced application, needs to be provided in the customer's language, or a translator needs to be provided to the customer to translate the program information.
Okay, sweetie, I'm gonna need you to go to the Spanish table. It's right there.
This practice would be discriminatory. Segregating or separating children who share a particular characteristic into groups would be discrimination based on the protected class of national origin.
We've covered a lot of material today on civil rights. To finish up, here is a list of must-do items that all sponsors must complete. Offer the school nutrition program in a non-discriminatory manner. Train staff annually on civil rights and documenting your training logs. Develop and fully implement the sponsor's civil rights complaint procedure. Make the complaint form, log, and procedure available to all staff. Prominently display the And Justice for All poster. Print the non-discrimination statement on all printed and electronic materials available to the public which mention USDA or school nutrition. Offer meals to all participants, and collect annual racial and ethnic data information.
Thank you for participating in Georgia Department of Education's Civil Rights Training. For USDA civil rights resources, such as posters, complaint forms, and prototype civil rights procedure templates, go to the Georgia Department of Education School Nutrition Program website, or you can go to your area consultant if you have any further questions. Thank you.